Useful.
David kind of nodded off the last few minutes last time.
I'd
Oh.
say about the last half hour. Because I was listening to my recording, and even though you guys didn't hear it, I was snoring.
I appreciate that you muted yourself.
Yeah, keep doing that. Although it's funny when you forgot to do it.
It's only funny if we can wake you up.
Yeah.
I mean, you also do have the ability to mute him from this end if it is an emergency.
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
If you right click a name and server mute.
Server mute. Okay.
This is an emergency. Shut up.
Okay, so on that note,
Give me a sec to get everything going here.
James, prepare for our deaths.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't you?
Well, yeah, we're all going deaf.
20.
We're gone deaf?
Yeah, you just said
What?
we're all preparing for our deaths.
Alright, so who would like to remind us what happened last week?
Clay golems. We fought them. Rizwin got Rizwin. I didn't say Rinswin for a second. My brain. Rizwin got hurt. Tried to be tough about it. So he poked her until she stopped being tough. Cast a spell magic on it to remove the effect, and we I believe Fire sent some of his piggies off into the woods to scout, and they found a hole. And after resting, we went to the hole. We were surprised by how deep and dark the hole was because it didn't seem right. And we decided to go down in the hole. We found I want to say a Japanese suburban home.
Not like, I wouldn't say
I-
suburban, but it is
Where-
sort of like a Japanese style.
A Japanese inspired villa.
Sure, yeah.
And we found a very prissy, very arrogant mage inside who happened to have the crystal that we were looking for. And she's willing to give it to us for the cost of one Hydra heart and an escort to Marielda. I think that about covers it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there's anything of note that happened. Anyone else remember anything that I did?
Not relevant, I think. Like a lot of tools, as always.
Nibbles is being sassy in my DMs.
I am shocked.
But yeah, Rizwin, well, both Zoe and Rizwin had offered to give up their horse for Estrella, and she picked Rizwin's horse. So she is riding with Rizwin behind her. And yeah, you all, where we last left off, you all were venturing back into the forest.
Yeah. I guess just following the trail, we blazed through it.
Yeah, she is letting you pick the route. So whatever way you want to go.
I guess the route we know, the one like was following the river, I guess.
How was called the lady that we were originally looking for?
Ashala.
Shala.
I'll just
So
set it.
I.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So I got my horse to be right beside them, Rizwin and this lady.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
She kind of looks at you sideways, doesn't say anything.
So we said remind me, we said that we were looking for Ashala, right? Or we follow with her steps. We named
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, Ashala was one of the sort of heroes that saved the city like 700 years ago. So you were pretty sure you weren't gonna find her.
Yeah, but we mentioned to this mage that we were following her steps.
Yes.
So, what's your relationship with Ashala? It's like your grandma, something?
Sorry, give me a sec to get the accent back. uh, add a couple more in there.
Grandmother.
Something like that.
Cool.
The voice was 7% more southern.
I'll get it back eventually.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's done forever.
Just think disapproving military wife is what I hear.
Hmm.
So, I didn't give a look like I forgot the question because I forgot the question I was about to give. Oh yeah, you said like you knew the Kamel's the god, right?
I've heard of him, yes.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. Just heard of him?
Yes.
Insight check.
Sure. She does seem to be telling the truth on that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you meant something different. Do you like any gods? Or do you not like any particular god?
She thinks about it for a minute. I'm not sure.
Where ambivalent in any direction is also an answer. Okay, bye. And I kind of do the move to walk away. I look at Rizwin. Hey, Rizwin.
She is apparently lost in thought. Also, I guess I had never made this explicit for anybody, but the medallion representing Shar and Seline that I had made is now hanging off of my glaive.
Okay.
Rizwin. I poke you with my stick.
She is not there. Nobody's home.
Guys,
Hmm.
Rizwin's not answering.
Leave her alone. She's probably just lost in thought.
Okay.
I'll just glance back at Marshall. It just look like her husband's lost in thought.
Very deeply, yes.
Maybe even praying.
Make an insight check.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You can at least tell that her eyes are not closed, if that makes a difference.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fire, do you continue to sort of try to bug Rizwin?
I don't know, I would, but I don't want to be suppose anyone wants to do anything else?
I mean, you do you. Camille's leading at the front, kind of, I guess, with analysts or
So what do you do? I asked again to the lady. Like, just stay home?
She like stares directly at you. If I wish to, yes.
But okay. Do you have like a hobby? Like some people being at home, like I don't know, I'm a florist. I like to read, or I like to stuff. What do you do?
I entertain bored people, apparently.
Full time? So they kind of had to get this. That must be very boring people. Bored people or boring people or both?
Both.
No, normally boring people can be bored too, or otherwise.
Might I suggest you take up reading on these travels?
No. Thank you, but no. Pet can like doing that. And also, Zoe, you want to talk about books, you can talk to Zoe. She likes a lot. She net about it. She met this girl the other day, I don't know, but she was, I don't know, nice. Kind of geek out and make squeaky noises about a book. Was your grandma there? I think your grandmother was there. In that book, I mean, on the conversation.
Fire, you see her eyes start to twitch.
Camille has apparently gone completely deaf.
This goes on for an amount of hours.
All right.
I can't breathe. After probably 45 minutes of that, you see Rizwan kind of like realize what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks over at you, Fire, and just says, "Oh, Fire, can you give us a minute, please?
Sure.
Thank you."
Oh, wait.
And we talk
Yes.
for
We
a
have
second.
a conversation that's already happened.
A pre-made conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else hears this conversation?
There is enough space between the horses that you can probably catch like a hint of a whisper every now and then, but
They're on the same horse and they're whispering.
yeah.
And there's lots of horse sounds going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a real roller will use fresh conversation and not frozen.
Wow.
Boo.
Boo.
Boo this man.
This conversation is raw.
After about sort of around the time that Rizwan tells Fire to fuck off for a bit, you come upon the clearing.
I was nicer than that.
I know. You come upon the clearing with the where you fought the clay golems.
Yeah.
And as the horses walk through, Estrella sort of looks over at these piles of clay. Well, suppose that'll keep me busy when I get back.
Sorry, they were in our way.
They started it.
Why I put them there.
Yep, sure was.
And you continue on by, I assume, going the same route that you got to be here, following the river.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be another couple of hours, before you get to the pool. If anybody else has things they want to say before they get there.
Not to her.
Zoe does.
Go Zoe.
So Zoe's going to be very respectful. Say things like my lady, and all the court niceties.
Niceties?
There's the word I'm looking for. As she speaks, and asks how long it's been since she was in town. I cannot remember.
Marielda?
Yes, apologies. I really do look up names constantly, try and remember. So yes, Zoe is looking to find out how long it's been since she was in Mariel.
I believe I told you that I was last there when I was a child.
I don't remember actually saying that, so sorry.
That's okay.
I just remember her saying a long time ago. Were you there? Who were you there with?
When you ask this, you see her kind of like she takes a second to answer. Myself and my mother.
So you saw all the statues of your grandmother and her partner, her companions?
I don't remember there being any statues of my grandmother.
Well, I mean your great 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 grandmother.
Yes, I did, although I don't remember it very well. I was quite young.
This is not helping my suspicions, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Got a feeling you're doing this on purpose.
Nah, she's totally.
One way to find out.
Does this line of questioning have a point?
I'm just a big fan of the books that are based off your mother and her companions. Or, sorry, your great 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 great. You get the idea. Grandmother.
Pert finally perks up and goes, Ancestor.
Kamiel just
Shush.
perks up in Celestial Ancestor.
And it's amazing to meet somebody who's related to her is all. But I also have to ask, how did you do the whole... No, wait, that was just... Retracted, that was a, she had, the tea was being held up by a unseen servant, right?
Yes, you would recognize that because you just very recently learned that spell.
What do you mean very recently?
Or no, Vanya learned that spell from you.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
She's known that spell for a couple months.
Yeah, it was one of her first magic spells.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
She hasn't used it, that's why.
And I hate you. Zoe shyly asks if she knows any way to hold up a book while riding a horse beyond using your own hand.
Sorry, I have to think about what kind of magic she knows.
Player asking, what about an unseen servant?
Unseen servant is a creature, an unseen body. It can't exactly keep up with you on a horse. I don't think there's unseen servant with an unseen horse.
Does it have weight?
I think Unseen Servant can only pick up like 5 pounds or something. And can only move.
Well, look at him. Like, you can put the unseen servant on top of the horse in front of you if it doesn't weigh.
A servant does not ride on my horse.
Pony.
Well, then I suppose you'll have to get another horse for it.
Wait, was that her answer? Was the
Yeah, that was her answer.
Apparently, it's an invisible, mindless, shapeless force, so it's not a body.
oh hey,
It's like a little ball of telekinetic energy.
good to know. Thank you.
I could give you a zombie. Cannot keep up with horses though.
Zoe glares at fire. No zombies.
I know.
Was there anything else, or are you also going to talk my ear off?
I was taught it was always polite to have good conversation. And I know the response to that. That's out of character.
Mm-hmm. Well, Zoe, I live alone in the middle of the forest. Do you not think that it might be a bit much to be hearing a lot of conversation all the time when I am not used to it?
I'm sorry to be a disturbance, my lady. Do you have any wish to talk? I am around.
Well, I do believe that you will be occupied in your own thoughts before long. We just need a good stopping spot. And as you all continue to ride through this river upstream, you get back to the pool after a couple of hours. The waterfall splashes gently in the background. And as you all stop, most of you sort of like leading your horses around the pool so that, you know, you continue on your journey. And Estrella stops hers and says, "Let's stop here for a while."
I look at the sky. It's like, what time of day is it?
Like noon?
I mean, we can do lunch.
Is it noon?
It's high noon.
Because we didn't sleep at her house.
No, but you slept pretty close by. It didn't take you that long to get into the pit and out.
Yeah,
Right.
we slept after the golems, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Zoe burnt all her spells.
As soon as she stops the horse and says that she wants to get off, Rizwin hops down,
All right. She
offers
holds out
to
her
help her down.
she holds out her hand for Rizwin to take.
Yeah. I do the same thing, like the knee out so she can step down off of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, if I remember correctly, Marielda is not that far. So if I'm going to fulfill my end of the bargain and teach you a little bit about magic, we had best get started.
Who we're gonna teach?
Zoe.
Oh.
You're going to teach me to make the book? The bag?
We'll get there. Maybe. We have to start with the basics. But first, for the rest of you, she pulls out a paper and like an ink and a quill and like puts the ink bottle out, waves her hand so that it's like floating in the air, and writes on a piece of parchment and then hands it to Fire.
Mm-hmm. I grab it and look at
A bit
her.
of a shopping list, if you don't mind.
Sure, but we don't have shop near us. We have a lake.
I pull the paper out of Fire's hands and turn it the right side up.
Oh dear. Well, I'm sure the four of you will manage. Perhaps.
Is that sorry?
Some sort of quest?
Question
Sure.
does she actually say 4, or is
Yes.
that the GM miscounting?
Nope, she actually says 4. And she seems to be motioning to the 4 boys.
Okay.
Camille, as you sort of take the piece of paper from Fire and hold it and turn it around so it's right side up, you see on that list is a list of 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
Pixie dust, wild strawberries, a twig from an elder tree, and 1 pound of good quality geodes.
Geode.
I look at Amulet and Fire and say, "This is your thing."
Are you sure? I'm not that sure about that. Give me that paper.
Fire, you can't even read.
Well, you're shiny.
Yes, both these statements are true.
Uh-huh. Good talk.
Okay. I hand the list to Amulet.
Before, never mind.
Pert looks over the list and considers what he knows about the area.
Sure, you don't, like, you know sort of the general geology of the mountain range, because you've never, like, actually been down here before today. But you do know that geodes can be found in, shale, or like loose, sedimentary rock, so like shale or limestone or something like that.
Is this
Mhm.
the right environment for strawberries?
Yes, although if you're looking for wild strawberries, you're probably looking for a field. An elder tree is a you do know of elder trees. They're, tend to grow in deep in forests like this. They have like these little white bunched up berries that kind of look like Concord grapes.
Mm-hmm.
And are we hunting pixies?
Um, presumably, you're not quite sure what pixie dust is outside of like sort of a like we would think of pixie dust as being this sort of like kitschy thing.
Pert reviews the list before telling the others. I can figure out how to find 2/3 of this, but I don't know about the pixie dust. Amalus?
Estrella considers your fractions.
I consider his fractions.
What?
Per 3 of 4 is not 2/3.
Sorry, David.
What's on the list?
Geodes, wild strawberries, twig from an elder tree, and pixie dust.
I think with Ama and Pert we can hunt most of them. Ama, I don't know who else can get pixie dust rather than you.
Might be able to manage it.
If we find a strawberry thingy, I can get it bloom, and I could get elder trees easy. What's the other thing?
Pixie dust, wild strawberries, twig from an elder tree, and geodes.
What the hell is a geode?
Rock with pretty stuff inside.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty.
Well, off you go. Don't want to be wasting time.
I know what a geode is.
Well, I can't tell sometimes if you're Quasta talking or fire talking.
Also, language barrier.
I just raise an eyebrow or imperious manner, just.
She looks at you expectantly.
I know you've been in the forest a long time, but there's usually a word that comes after a request.
Rizwin visibly winces.
Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
would I recall one if the farmer we come through had strawberries in their garden?
We're way too far away from there.
Yeah, but give me a second. Or until if we pass through an old tree on the way here.
Just make a wisdom check.
Yeah, boop.
There were strawberries in the garden of the place on like the top of the mountain that you stayed at. You do remember seeing a few of those trees past like sort of nearby where the field where the clay golems was.
Okay, I say, hey, that farm had strawberries. We can get them tomorrow when we pass through the house. And I can go run around and get the twig, and you guys get other things.
Kamail's waiting.
After like 10 seconds, can I pull Kamail aside for a second?
Sure.
Camille, I get it. But in my opinion, she is worth a small amount of perhaps unearned respect. I would ask that you just play along for a little while.
Thank you for asking. That's all he says. Then just goes.
Well, while all that's happening, Miss Zoe, shall we get started?
Yes, ma'am. Zoe's clearly excited and interested and happy to learn more magic.
She. Hang on, I gotta look up something.
She cast fireball on you.
She does cast something. She waves her hands, pulls a couple of things out of her pocket, and everybody sees this very faint shimmery pink door appear just in space.
Door.
And she says to the four boys, "Come back soon," and enters the door.
Zoe follows her in.
Apparently, as does Rizwin. I don't know. Do I stand guard outside?
She did not give you any instructions one way or the other.
Zoe grabs Rizwin's hand and follows her in.
And what does everybody else do as Zoe, Rizwin, and Estrella disappear into this pink door?
I go on a search for pixies.
All right.
I guess we're looking for a shale deposit and I grab a pickaxe.
I transform into a giant spider and run off where I know that old tree is. Giant spider are faster.
And
I suppose
Pert?
I look for strawberries. I guess
All right.
I can't. I didn't already do all that.
All right. So the other four scatter, trying to find the stuff on the list. Zoe and Rizwin. Where are we? So you step inside this door, and inside is a mansion. It has sort of this similar look and feel to that house in El Clara that had the gargoyles outside and the maze out front. But everything is well lit here. The banisters on the stairs are lined with gold. There's this nice plush rug under your feet as you step inside. Your footprints are very evident as this rug is bleach white.
Zoe looks down, removes her shoes, uses prestidigitation on the mat, and walks around in her stock.
All right. Estrella does not seem to care that she's leaving a trail of mud. Mud is a bit strong. A slight trail of dirt as she walks across the rug and to one of the doors on the side. As she walks across, you see what sort of looks like what you would think that your unseen servant would look like if you could see it. Even though it's supposed to just be this ball of a ball of energy, this one faintly has a humanoid shape, almost like one of those little humanoid robots. that doesn't have like really distinct features, but is kind of humanoid shaped, and it goes around after her and starts like cleaning the rug. But she walks into another room, and as you follow her, you enter a workshop. There's this long, like L-shaped table. There's notebooks and paper stacked in a corner. There's like all these flasks and vials that line the walls.
Zoe is resisting the urge to go look at everything.
Oh, it's all blank, dear. It's just for show.
Wow.
Do many people come here to see it?
No, just me. Now, please, sit.
Is there a chair, or was she told to sit on the floor?
There is a chair. There is one chair, in fact. And she does not take it.
Zoe takes the chair.
Right. Now, have you ever enchanted anything before? Something before?
No?
Then I suppose that's where we're going to start. And over the next hour, she teaches you the basics of how to enchant an item. She pulls out some ink and a quill and gives you some of the books to write and practice in. And you spend the next hour basically just writing arcane equations. She explains that there is only, it's going to be basic practice until her shopping arrives.
Zoe seems to have a little trouble at this beginning. She's only used to writing out ritual spells, and half the time they just kind of appear in her book without her knowing why.
Yeah. She is not the most patient person in the world. But when she is teaching you, she seems to be a lot less nasty.
She has some form of patience instead of absolutely none.
Yes. Rizwan, what are you doing while this is happening?
Probably taking notes, maybe, to help Zoe later if there's something that she can't remember. But just kind of generally staying out of the way unless called upon.
Sure. I would like you both to make... Zoe can make an Arcana check, just to see how well you do. And Rizwan can make an intelligence check.
Can she? Ooh.
Hey!
Serious question here.
Mm-hmm.
With Zoe working hard to actually learn this, would she be allowed to cast guidance on herself to try and help learn?
Sure.
Okay. Wait. No, that wouldn't work.
Wait.
All right. It is a bit of a struggle at first, but after a little bit, you kind of get into a rhythm, and it starts to make a little more sense to you.
Damn,
Rizwan,
19 was that?
Rizwan, you are kind of surprising yourself at how well you're able to focus and keep up. And while it doesn't necessarily make that much sense to you, you feel like you're doing a pretty good job of copying down the stuff that she says anyways.
Yeah, I'm just transcribing.
Mm-hmm. So while they are doing that, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back to errands.
That was a misclick.
Why are we doing errands?
Because the prissy lady wants stuff.
I think Fire will think about that, like
God damn
going
it. Sorry, guys.
run away. Why are we doing this?
Well, you can think about it some more while we take a break.
Break. I'm gonna get coffee.
Coffee.
I don't need a break. I just got more tea.
Yeah, I just looked through everything. I don't think Zoe has a single enhancement or enchantment spell. Oh, she does. She is in thrall. Yep, never went anywhere.
No cost yet, though.
Yeah, I set up my water jug.
Ooh.
So I ordered the merch from Road Quest.
Yeah.
I figured, well, I better order it before it goes away. And I'm not actually broke at the moment.
Did you get the sweet water bottle?
Yes. The one Beach refused to sell me.
Yeah.
He had it, and I'm like, I want it. And he's like, only for me. I'm like,
What water bottle was this?
the Road Quest water bottle.
Uh,
In the end run, it was probably a good thing I didn't buy it, but that was not Saturday.
yeah, it's a $30 US water bottle. No water bottle's worth that to me.
I have coffee.
Yay, toffee.
Yay,
Welcome
coffee.
back.
I think everyone's back then.
Okay. Well, which one of you wants to go first?
Let the guy who doesn't know anything about nature get his bullshit out of the way first. I'm at least gonna try to find a patch of shale and go from there.
Sure. So you go walking off into the forest with your pickaxe.
And you never see him again.
Make a survival check.
Hey, I have a +1 on that. Nope.
We never see him again.
You find yourself in this predicament where you don't really, like, the only path that you know through the forest is this river.
Uh-huh.
You're like, well, I guess I'll just follow the river then. And you follow the river back to the clearing with the clay golems. You're like, well, now what?
Oh, fuck this. I walk over to a tree and grab a forked twig.
But I was looking for a twig.
I know you were.
Okay.
Okay. Ah, I see. Locate object. How far is 1,000 feet?
It's 1,000 feet.
It's about 300 meters.
Okay.
It's not quite a quarter mile.
300 meters was the most useful.
It's 500 sets of feet.
It's like a medium-sized block away.
As you cast locate object, you concentrate and think about a geode, and you sense a couple like pretty deep underneath you, and you're like, not getting those. And then you sense one like just outside of your radius that you think is more surface level.
No, it's... I concentrate for 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna jog in that direction.
Sure.
Then you stub your toe. You can't concentrate anymore.
No. So you go basically the other, like, if the clearing was north, you go south from the river.
Mm-hmm.
Through the forest. Just not quite sure where you're going except for this spell that's guiding you. And after a quick jog, you do come to a very sort of short words are failing me right now.
Cliff?
Yeah, but like
Ridge?
yeah, like a short ridge, like 10 or 15 feet high.
Mm-hmm. Like those rock road cuts you see on the 401 sometimes.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking of.
That means exactly something to 3 people here.
4 at the very least.
And you can sense that there are a few geodes buried within this little ridge.
And she wanted a pound of them.
Yeah.
Well, thank God rocks are heavy. All right. Start doing it.
Okay. Just make me an athletics check.
Hey, I'm good at those, potentially.
Hopefully.
Mess with Nibbles, take your dice back.
They are kind of deep in the rock, and by the time you uncover the first one, the spell has faded. But I don't know that Camille, if this is the first time Camille has ever gone looking for geodes, he probably wouldn't, like, you wouldn't necessarily go, oh, that's a geode, because it's just a solid rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you pick it out of the ridge, you hold it in your hands, and it's a lot lighter than you expect.
Okay, well, I'll use that as a sort of the basis for. Hey, this rock is way heavier than it, or way lighter than it appears. So I'll separate those into a pile.
All right. So you dig out. Roll me 2d4. Okay, so you find five geodes. A couple are like no bigger than golf ball sized, and a couple are like bread loaf sized.
Okay, so easily a pound.
Yeah, you would think so. Although you're not sure if she wants a pound of the actual geodes or the pound of the crystals inside the geode.
She didn't specify.
She did not.
That's on her. So I'll grab all the ones I can find and bring them back.
Sure. Just make me another survival check to make sure you don't get lost.
I try to ping my horse telepathically.
It's not a hard survival check. Yeah, you're okay. You have this sort of like heart-stopping moment where you're like, "Oh God, I should have reached the river by now." But you do meet back up with the river.
Mm-hmm. I mean, eventually he'll just pick a cardinal direction, keep walking in that direction until he finds it, and then if not, he'll just go in another cardinal direction. He'll eventually find it.
Sure. So did you leave your horse behind?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's going to take you another couple hours to get back to the lake.
That's fine.
You have your geodes. Who's up next?
I sent you DM as to why the horse is there.
Yes, you did.
So, just for clarification, that means Camille is gone for 4 hours?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
I mean, 4 hours combined with digging into a rock face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Missed. You and Melis also set out. How would you like to go about trying to find pixies?
I am not sure. I'm not sure if Amalus would or would not have any idea where to start with this.
I mean, Amalus has some sort of weird connection with some sort of fairy-like creatures.
Yeah.
You can. You've Forest is favorite terrain, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think you might get something about tracking creatures. Let me just double check here.
When tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area.
Okay. That is not what I was looking for. But yeah, you can give me a survival check if you want to just like walk out into the forest and try and find pixies.
Sure.
Make it an advantage.
How
Never
about a
mind.
nat 20?
Oh, hey, some pixies.
I was gonna say make it an advantage because Melis is also, you know, a hunter and could definitely help you find. Like they'd be about the size of his prey. But no need. After like 20 minutes, you just like pick a direction in the forest and go, let's go that way. And yeah, like 20 minutes later, you hear sort of like a very faint, very high pitched like bell sound. Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. You see Melis's ears perk up. And then he like gets low to the ground. Like he's, you know, he does the pounce position. And following sort of Melis's eye line, you see what looks like a very tiny person sitting on a branch with these very like green gossamer wings and this like little sort of green outfit, little green dress. And she has already noticed you, and she kind of smiles and waves and says, "Hi."
Hello.
And then you hear from behind you, "Hi." And another one, seemingly out of nowhere, flies down and sits on the top of Melis's head. And then Melis starts looking around like, what the fuck? And then, oh boy. And then the pixie kind of giggles and just pokes Melis in the head. And Melis starts to grow and grow, and his fur turns to scales. And in front of your eyes, Melis turns into a Tyrannosaurus.
Into a what?
A Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I just stare.
Melis gets like 8 feet tall and is just looking around confusedly, and you hear the laughter of the pixies as they start to fly away. And Melis goes chasing after them.
Oh dear, come back.
Thump, 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 thump. Trees are just like falling left and right.
I chase after.
As Melis is chasing these pixies and they're just like flying through the air laughing hysterically, you do in fact see like little particles of dust falling behind the pixies as they fly.
Trying to figure out how I could collect that while running at the same. And trying not to lose Melis in the distance.
Do you have any like spare containers or like a bowl or something?
I have a pouch.
I mean, you could run behind them and do your best. I'm not. I think this is going to be a dexterity, some sort of dexterity roll to try and get as much of the pixie dust as you can while chasing after these flying pixies and a rampaging Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Sure.
This would be acrobatics.
Sure.
Sure. Give me an acrobatics roll.
Not bad.
That's pretty good. I mean, Melis shows no sign of tiring, and the pixies are continuing to fly around, giggling madly. And so you, over like 7 or 8 minutes of this chase, you're able to collect not a lot, but like the bottom of your pouch is covered in a fine sheen of this like greenish gold dust.
Why does pixie dust sounds like moth dust?
Pretty much.
Ew.
um, After a little while, Melis starts to kind of tire out. And then he just sort of, you see him just like wiggle his little T-Rex arms.
Oh dear.
Looks back at you and roars. By this point, Melis has lost the pixies, and you also don't hear them anymore. The whatever pixie dust was still flying in the air seems to have all settled to the ground.
Gosh, I hope this is only temporary.
Melis tries to headbutt you.
Oh. I fall over.
He kind of nuzzles you with his big T-Rex head.
I pat him.
It's weird, but it's novel.
Still Melis.
Mm-hmm. All right. After the all of the chasing, it takes you maybe another 20 minutes, half an hour to find the lake again. Melis is still a T-Rex. While you sit back at the lake, you see the pink door sort of shimmering in the air, and are just kind of like not quite sure what to do about your T-Rex cat. Pert, you are sent off to find some strawberries.
Yep.
I did a thing.
You did. That's very cool. That looks very hard. David, you can give me a survival roll to try and find some strawberries. All right. So you actually end up, after thinking about it for a bit, end up going in very much the same direction as Kamel, because you know that wild strawberries like to grow in more open spaces, like in fields. You're like, I know where there's a clearing. But you actually find, sort of with your 22 survival, you actually find another clearing a little ways off from the river, quite a bit sooner than the clay golem clearing. And growing at the edge of that clearing, you do see a small bush of these like pinkish white wild strawberries that are only about the size of like your pinky toe. They're not very big.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Okay. Do you pick the strawberries and are sort of like, well, what the fuck was this about?
I guess. Sorry,
Alright.
I'm really, 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 really not feeling it. Sorry.
That's okay. So you finish your errand rather quickly and head back after about an hour. Just in time to see Mellis the T-Rex transform back into Mellis the cat.
Seeing Melis the T-Rex at all, Pert will probably spend the rest of the quiet time catching squirrels or whatever small things that he can try to keep Melis from being overly hungry just in case the T-Rex comes back.
All right.
I think it's the consideration of we all wouldn't even know what that is, right?
Yeah, it was just some really big ass lizard looking creature.
And ain't you glad I come back last?
Yeah.
Fire.
Yes.
You were looking for a twig.
Yes.
Okay.
Sniff
From a
around.
specific species of tree.
Yes. Make a survival check.
Specific species or just old?
No, elder is a specific species of tree.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like
Like an old tree. Okay.
What do you want to roll?
Survival. Unless you can give me a reason that you want to roll something else.
No, survival. I want the insight.
Okay. You you just sort of go wandering into the forest?
I said before that I remember more or less where it was one, so I ran into that direction.
Okay. Where did I say it was?
Beside everyone else on the clearing.
Okay, so you go basically the same direction as Kamel, running ahead of him because he's, taking his time to actually look. And you're just like, I know where one was, and go running down. Running down the river. Do you take your horse, or are you just going on foot?
I'm spider form.
Oh, right, you're spider form.
I didn't. I forgot the horses existed and wanted to go quickly.
Okay, well, you're still able to go quickly. And you get there, and you do in fact see some trees at the edge of the clearing that you know to be elder trees.
Climb, grab out the twig.
Sure, you grab sort of a nice sized twig. You think, I don't know what this is for, but this is probably fine.
I grabbed two. I have 2 pals, right? I don't know. How do I grab one? Mouth. I don't want to think about this. I grab one.
Okay, so you grab one. That's probably it for that particular. Actually, how long do your wild shapes last?
3 hours.
Okay, then you can make it there and back on the one wild shape. Kamel, as you're walking through, still trying to find geodes, you see a spider run past you, and then near to where you are nearing the clearing, the spider runs back past you.
Huh. Alright, but not shocked by this at all.
Yes.
Like minding his own business. Like that animal is busy.
That animal is most likely fire.
Alright, and you make it back to the pond in pretty good time. After Melis has retransformed.
Do I see the T-Rex?
You do not.
Fuck.
But you do notice Melis looking a little he's a bit clingy towards Amalus.
wanted to see it
Aw.
so I can cast polymorph.
And yeah, you can enter the door whenever you so desire.
We are all there. Well,
Everybody except for Camille. Camille takes a little bit longer.
I guess we wait for him.
After a couple of hours, I think Estrella sends Rizwin out to see if the others are back because they are taking a very long time.
Just kind of poke my head out and just see everybody. And I assume I'd see 3 of them.
Yes.
I guess I will wave them in, like, come in, and I'll, like, I probably wouldn't take them into the workroom, but just, like, find a comfortable place for them to sit for a little while. Although she wanted the stuff. No, okay, so I would take them into the workroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go back outside and try to talk to Ramiel.
Okay.
Ramiel does not understand.
Do I know that?
Probably not.
Yeah, so I'd tell Ramiel, I'm like, when he gets back, tell him to come inside. And I nod at the door. And I look at Ramiel.
Ramiel just stares back at you.
I'm like, good talk. And I kind of want to say I just go back inside, but then also, I don't know, Camille's an adult, he can figure it out. I go back inside.
All right. So everybody but Camille's back. Rizwin chose Pert, Fire, and Amelis to the workroom, where Zoe is busy writing out something, and Estrella is just sort of standing over her shoulder, saying, "Nope, not this." Yep, there you go.
Ooh.
Yes.
No, I realized that I could be done something before we enter while we're waiting for Camille. Can I do it?
Sure.
I wanted to ask something to Bert. Hey, Bert.
Uh-huh.
Do you know if there exists some sort of reptile animal that's very, very keen on fire? Like, actual fire, not me. Like, he likes, I don't know, being in a volcano or something. Does that exist?
I've definitely heard legends about fire salamanders and other creatures of that breed, yes.
Salamanders called?
Fire salamanders.
Fire salamanders.
Is
Okay, thank you.
that
Thank
if
you.
fire turns into a salamander?
No,
No,
normal
no.
salamander's about the size of your palm, and Pert's using his own hand and fingers to kind of give you an example of how big a normal salamander is. They're related to newts and skinks and other lizards of that breed. Not lizards, reptiles of that ilk. Fire salamanders are more the size of a large hunting dog, about 3-4 foot tall at the shoulder, about 6-7 feet long.
Almost like if you find a big one, can be human-sized, right?
I mean,
Like-
theoretically, yeah.
You can find one that's higher than you. Like, it will be a very good one, but very big one, but it will exist.
Well, like I said, they're about 7 feet long already by default, so really,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So you enter the workshop. You give Estrella the stuff you collected. She takes the strawberries and starts munching on them. opens the pouch with the pixie dust in it, sort of shakes it around a bit and says, "Oh, I suppose this will do," and sets it aside and takes the twig from Fire and says, "Well, how about we put this to use?"
You're
And
making tea?
she hands the twig to Zoe and says, "You're going to make a wand."
Sorry, what?
You're going to make a wand.
Congratulations, Zoe is now a magic girl.
Zoe's already a magic girl. So he looks nervous and just be like, okay. What do I need?
Well, we can get started while we wait for your other friend to come back with the rocks. And she takes the twig and sets it on some paper and basically shows you the arcane equations that you were writing out before and shows you how to write them basically around the twig on the paper. And then she says, "Now, I believe you know the spell prestidigitation."
Some?
She motions to the twig. "Well?"
So he does what she does when she casts a spell, lifts up her hands, the little glass around her neck
All right.
glows. She casts prestidigitation on the wand, or
Okay.
the stick that will become the wand.
And what effect are you trying to get from prestidigitation?
Trying to remember what the effects can be.
Can I remind you of something you've done a lot with prestidigitation in the past?
Like
Yeah, I already planned on that, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to make it purple light or purple, just color it purple.
you can change the flavor of the stick.
Purple isn't the flavor.
Oh, it definitely is.
So it's a joke. So let's see. Can I do? Damn, I kind of want. Jamie, can I do two things?
What two things?
Make it turn the color purple,
Mm-hmm.
and make the tip glow purple, but like
That's
bright
fine.
purple.
That's fine. So you cast your spell, and the twig starts to glow, or turns purple. The tip starts to glow a bit, and then after a couple of seconds, you see the runes that you've written around it. They start to glow a little bit, and then it's like the purple color gets absorbed into the stick. And Estrella kind of raises an eyebrow and says, "Well, it's not exactly what I had in mind, but it'll do." And she comes over your shoulder and casts the exact same effect. And you see it happen again.
Do we need to keep casting it over and over again?
Once the geodes get here, then yes. Now, there is no substitute for time. Even with my extensive help, this is going to take a few days of just doing this for the magic to stick. The more powerful the spell you want to cast, or the more powerful the spell... Sorry, this is Jamie. The more powerful the spell that you are enchanting an item with, the longer it's going to take, and the more expensive materials you're going to need to do it. For something as simple as this, some geode quartz, will do you just fine. That pixie dust you're going to want to save for when you do something a little more expensive.
So, is your bag like a what is the spell? Tiny hut? Zoe actually was trying to remember what the spell is because she only read about it, never actually seen it.
Yeah.
I've actually
Not
seen a
quite.
lot of magic not done by yourself.
Yeah. Not quite. The bag that I have is actually created with the use of an enlarge spell. With very careful and creative use, you can enlarge one dimension but not the others. The other way to do it, of course, is to make it an extra dimensional space, very much like she kind of waves her arms around, like the space you are currently in.
This is a very interesting house, by the way.
Thank you. You are going to be limited to what you can with what you can enchant by what spells you know. It's just up to you to use them in creative ways.
So I could put a cure spell into this stick?
Sure. Not now that you've already started putting another spell into it, but...
And this is where Zoe retires and just makes magical weapon. Spends the rest of the time in chat.
Estrella continues, there is a chance of failure. And that chance is going to be much greater the more powerful the spell you're using. I would recommend, from personal experience, that you take some time before you enchant to run some experiments with slightly cheaper materials. This is another reason I like to use geodes. It is extra time to take, but it will reduce your likelihood of failure.
So this is Quasta asking.
Yes.
The spell start only Zoe can do it, use it after, or anyone?
Anyone. But it has to be Zoe can only enchant things with spells that Zoe knows.
Still, whoa.
Can this be done with ritual spells?
It can be done with any spell, as far as I know.
That seems useful. This is how the entire party got owls.
As she's talking about things that need to be valuable, Rizwin kind of gets a brainwave of something she'd been meaning to do but hasn't really had the light to do. Can she pull out one of those garnets and start trying to cut it?
Sure.
I'm assuming I show up at some point after this conversation.
Yeah. Actually, what happens before Camille gets there? Estrella glances over at Rizwin and sees that she's busy and doesn't bother her. To the other three, she says, "Go across the hall. You will find the kitchen. Please occupy yourselves."
That's a dangerous proposition.
She makes the sort of the hand motion, the shooing hand motion. She looks back over Zoe's shoulder.
I want to stay a little behind so I can speak with Rizwan.
Okay. What do the other two do?
Pert will go to the kitchen, find whatever, I don't know, food stuff, filet, I don't know.
Are you doing okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. Bert and Emma and Melis go to the kitchen. On the table is set out all sorts of fancy food. It looks like a feast has been prepared and laid out just for you. There's chicken and fish and all sorts of salads and side dishes. And you can just eat. Fire, you wanted to talk to Rizwan.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's just kind of sitting in the corner working on this, and when you approach her, she'll quickly put it away and motion that we should step outside if you want to talk.
Okay.
Just so they're not disturbed.
Okay.
So we then step outside.
We step outside.
Yeah.
Do you prefer here?
It's up to you.
I would err on the side of being in here.
Okay. So I'd say... So I'm thinking... Salamander. How off am I?
Hold on a second.
Are you doing your insight on yourself?
No, I was trying to see if she even knew what the hell you were talking about. I'm not sure what a salamander is, actually.
Big reptile who likes being on a volcano of fire or something.
The player will point out that salamanders are elementals. That is known at all.
It wasn't pointed at me, so I guess no.
Something like that, sure.
Okay, other question. Ability to disguise or spell?
Call it camouflage.
Like
a
natural.
chameleon.
Okay. Are you sexy? I asked him for a friend.
If I were to walk around as myself, I would be in danger if I went anywhere near other people. That is why I hide.
I mean, what can be that terrible? Literally, we have a girl with horns in our party.
And I am constantly worried that we're going to run into somebody that's going to take exception to that.
Yeah, well, but we're good friends. We'll fuck them up, right?
One person, sure. What about an entire city's worth of guards?
We will fuck all that we can and we run.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. Unfortunately, that is not the way the world works.
Yeah, well, you can do two things. Try to simulate the world's rules, or say fuck them and live your life.
Unfortunately, I am not able to completely live that way.
And that's okay. I'm not trying to dissuade you. I was just curious.
Well, I just have to be careful, and I hope that you can help me with that.
Sure. But what do you need? Like, I don't know, be bodyguardian?
No, just secrecy.
Hmm. Yeah, about that. Why do you tell the others?
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Why wouldn't you tell the others? Like, I understand, but also we have been a lot together through. I understand all habits are hard to come by, but I don't know. Think I think it's kind of important.
She kind of gets like 1,000-yard stare a little bit and just kind of sighs and says, I guess it's because I'm afraid.
I get it, and I will not push you, but I think it's better if they know on your terms than in anyone else's terms. Like if something happened and the bust is off and they know like in the middle of the battle, they can be distracted and have a slip. It's better to be in a controlled environment. Like I will vouch for you, whatever it is, and I know the rest will too.
I appreciate that. I'll think about it.
Don't. I would say don't feel pressure about it, but feel pressure about it. You know what I mean?
I think I understand.
Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I go back to my carving, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know what it's actually called in the
Your your gem work. Fire. You
I go
find
and eat,
you
eat fruit.
find Amalus and Melis and Pert chowing down on this giant feast. You also see the incorporeal servants clearing away plates and putting more food back on the table. And about an hour later, Camille, you finally arrive back at the lake. Nobody is around except for that pink door.
I just kind of look at Ramil's. Where do they go?
Ramil motions towards the door.
Thank you.
See, it worked to tell her. Or him.
And you enter. You see the foyer with all of the gold lining and the white carpet. And there's one door to the left, one door to the right, and the door to the left is open, and you hear the sound of Fire and Pert and Emma talking.
Okay, I'll look inside. If I don't see where what's her name is, I'll go in the other door, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you poke your head inside. It smells good. It smells like food.
I'll go into the room and I'll just politely leave the geodes on a nearby surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you open the door.
Make myself visible and just not interrupt, and then leave.
Sure. As you go in, you see Rizwin working with jeweler's tools off in the corner, and Zoe is still sitting at the desk. She has the twig set up sort of over to the side with paper underneath with a bunch of runes written on it, and she's seems to be writing in a book with Estrella standing over her shoulder.
Okay.
And as you walk in, Estrella looks up and says, yes, bring that here, please.
Sure.
Is it in like a bag or something?
I'm assuming I would have taken like a sack or something. I knew what geodes are.
Sure. She looks in the sack, and then she looks at you. Will you break these for me? Please.
Yes, I will. You're welcome. I'll just grab I just go over to Rizwin and borrow that jeweler's hammer for a second.
Outside.
Obviously.
I hand him my warhammer.
Just imagine it's her face.
The
That's
jeweler's
You do imagine.
the jeweler's hammer is a very, very small ball peen hammer. It will not crack a geode open.
I thought you were doing it with your fist.
He probably could. He's not going to, though.
But yes, she will let you borrow her warhammer.
I'll go outside, find a nice flat rock, and as delicately as possible, not smash them to smithereens.
All right. Make a dexterity check.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
You
I'll
like
start with a small one.
yeah, you take one of the small ones and sort of like gently tap it with the warhammer. Nothing happens. Tap it a little harder. Tap it a little harder. Crack. It's in like 10 pieces on the ground.
Just realizing what I did, I'm going to rummage through my saddlebag and grab a baton out of it and use that as a chisel.
Okay. That helps a little bit. It's still you end up with a lot of little pieces. And there's a couple of the geodes that like there's nothing like the two smaller ones, you open them up and there's like a few crystals in there, but there's not really a lot that's grown inside them. But one of the bigger ones, you opened it up and it looks really good. It's like one of those ones that has the amethyst inside.
Okay, well, when I'm done, I'll go bring them back inside.
All right. She looks at the bag, the bag of geodes, and she says, excellent. Now, can you crush them up for me, please?
I look for a mortar and pestle on the counter.
There is probably one on a shelf somewhere.
I will politely grab it down and start grinding it down into a powder.
All right. Scamel frustratingly grinds the stone into dust.
There's a couple moments where he bangs the pestle into the mortar and just.
All right. After about 5 minutes, you have like a little, mostly big chunks, but a little bit of like quartz powder at the bottom. She kind of waves her hand, and that quartz powder just sort of like lifts up into the air in this stream and sets down around, like where the runes are painted on the paper around the wand. And she motions to Zoe.
So he casts prestidigitation.
All right. You do it this time, and you notice it takes longer for the spell to disappear into the wand, and the glow seems to be quite a bit brighter. And you can immediately see that this gem dust is, like, you can see the effect it's having on the strength of the spell. She says, "Excellent. Now just do that for a few more days, and you'll have your first magic item."
Second.
Oh?
She pulls the chain that is her focus. Yeah, arcane focus.
Mhm.
This is clearly magical. It didn't used to be, but now it is.
What about the lantern?
But yeah, also have a lantern. So third.
Well, I'm impressed.
Zoe's kicking herself for admitting this stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, it's going to take a couple more days to finish this.
So, do I have to cast this like a couple times a day or once a day at the same time? Or...
Once a day should be fine, but you're going to have to rewrite those runes and use new dust every time.
And these are the same runes you written down in her book, right?
Yes.
She was made to write down multiple times.
Yes.
And is there dust left?
There is. You figure that by the time Camille grinding this up, you will have probably more than you need. But she did mention that it can be used for other enchanting.
So if I use like the geo dust on a higher level spell, will it take longer or not be effective?
It will not be effective. But when you're first planning out how to make the item, it can be very useful just to make sure that it's working.
So like the first time I'd use this and then move on to something much more expensive?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you're much less likely to ruin 30,000 gold worth of sapphire dust or ruby dust.
That's a lot of dust.
Mm-hmm.
Overhearing this conversation, Rizwan begins carefully saving the little pieces that she's splitting off from the garment. She did not realize that the dust was the important part.
Thank you for teaching me this, ma'am.
My pleasure.
Did she mean that?
Hard to tell. She kind of claps her hands together and says, "Well, there's not much more we can do with this for today. And I do believe the rest of your friends have already dug into dinner."
Nom nom nom.
Yes, they like to do that.
Well, one of the benefits of this place is that it provides unlimited food.
You see a face in a corner. Can we live here?
No. But I'm feeling generous. You may enjoy it for the next couple of hours or so.
So at this point, it's like late afternoon, early evening.
Yes.
May we impose on you to sleep here tonight, ma'am?
Make a persuasion check.
Technically, Zoe should be good at this.
That's pretty good. She sighs and says, I suppose so. I hate having people in my house.
Thank you for honoring us with letting us stay here.
She just kind of smiles a little bit as you say that and says, well, I suppose I'll see you in the morning.
Zoe goes off to claim the most comfortable bed that isn't clearly the master bedroom.
All right, you head upstairs to a whole bunch of bedrooms. You see Estrella walk into the one at the end of the hall, close the door, and you hear the click of the lock.
She doesn't go and try to open that one.
Okay. So, Estrella has decided that this is as far as you go today. If there's anything else you want to do before you take a rest, now's the time to do it.
Mikhail's gonna go outside and do his prayers and stuff.
Mhm.
Doesn't feel right doing it in here.
Sure.
He might even sleep outside, to be perfectly honest.
Zoe is also going to step outside to find some open sky and try and ask if this lady is safe from her deity? Not deity, patron.
Make a wisdom check, I guess.
You did tell her to continue. The question is this where it wanted to her to continue to? Come on, bad roll.
You do not get a response.
You are not very helpful.
Mhm.
Aren't the stories about patrons being annoying and constantly asking for things? Zoe finds food and goes to bed. Zoe finds food, then a bath, then goes to
Mhm.
bed.
It is a lovely bath with any sort of scented bath products you could ever want.
This is why she had a bath. She figured that'd be the case. Dear
Mhm.
God, this is what she misses from her old life.
Camille, you can also make a wisdom check.
Jesus Christ.
You also get nothing.
My dice hate me. He's gonna stay outside today.
Okay. Anybody else?
So, it's approximately what time when everybody starts going their own way and doing things?
Like 6.
Okay. Rizwan goes hunting.
Okay.
She's looking for something larger than usual.
All right. Make a survival roll.
That's about right.
You do not find anything, although you do find a lot of trees that have been pushed down, stepped on.
Forcibly moved.
Mm-hmm. That's a bit concerning.
All the damage is about 8 feet high.
I think the activity is sort of more about doing something, and I think she's kind of a little preoccupied with other things, so probably doesn't actually pay that much mind.
All right.
Once she eventually is frustrated and gives up, she will head back, and she's not going to take a full bath like Zoe did, but she will spend a little time just cleaning up, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And would Zoe have told her what room she was staying in?
On the door is a sign that says Zoe in purple letters.
Okay.
It'll disappear in the morning.
She will kind of just stand in the hallway for a minute, like kind of in indecision, and sit down and just stare at Estrella's door for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I should have decided what a high roll would be before I rolled.
Mm.
She will go over to Estrella's door and very quietly knock.
Knock, knock, open up the door.
She does not answer.
Okay. Then I knock on Zoe's door.
Zoe comes to the door with her hair down, the hat off, and be like, "That's your bed," and points at the second bed in the room.
Is there a second bed in the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Zoe had to tell the unseen servants to move it in.
Y'all are not gonna just let her sleep across the door, are you?
No, Zoe's been around you for how long?
Alright. And I go to sleep.
Okay. Anybody else?
Zoe alarms Rizwan's bed.
Zoe
That
is
is very alarmed.
rudely awoken in the middle of the night when gets up to use the restroom.
Pert will spend the night writing quiet notes about everything that they've witnessed, both about the sorceress herself and about the house.
Mm-hmm. All right. As everybody eventually finds their way to either a bed or a bedroll, and you all fall asleep, I think that's where we're going to end it tonight.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
I have not laughed that hard in quite a while. Oh, that was great.
The
You
T-Rex was cute.
Yeah.
With what you laughed so hard?
Just all the snark is great. I love it so much.
I'm playing into it.
I mean, I didn't thought she will actually help and teach Zoe, so that's neat.
Yeah, I was also shocked by this. So
Do you think, Jamie, that deserves a level up?
No.
Boo.
Nice try, though.
I, the player, am getting annoyed at my wisdom rolls.
Yeah, you've had some bad luck.
I've had a lot of bad luck. Like,
Um,
it's been consistent for like 4 weeks now.
yeah. Just so you don't get like too pissed off at your dice, I will let you know that Kamel's gonna have to do a little bit of work in this regard. That is not just making wisdom rolls.
I figured.
But yeah, that's the dice have not been with you. I'm sorry.
Part of the game.
Yes, it is.
Dude, yesterday I rolled so bad.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. I've actually been rolling decently in that game. When it's good to fail so you can level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that my dice roll low, it's just that they hate me.
I'm assuming the stuff for Kamel is partially plot based too. Like certain
Perhaps.
conditions have to be met.
Perhaps Jamie hasn't thought about a good response yet.
I think that would be telling. Spoilers.
Spoilers. David,
Yes,
are you okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, my eyes hurt.
Just staring at the screen too much, or
I guess so. I don't feel like I've been on the computer more than
yeah, you
more
it's
than
only
normal.
been playing a fuck ton of Overwatch recently.
Yeah, but I feel like there's been less this weekend than normal. Where's the
We have like almost an hour of tie yet?
Technically, I can go into the dock in a few minutes. So, but I mean, I back into a dock and then I'm free for 3 to 7 hours.
I propose. What if we try the thing we have talked about long ago? Cards Against D&D.
I need 5 minutes just so that I can write up this item that Zoe's creating.
I mean,
So that
I
it's
would,
ready for next
I
session.
would need to add a couple more cards and stuff. So
But
I have all these things in an Excel document.
do you think it's doable for now, or do you need like another not